Hey, Jimmy. Where's Gloria? All right. It's 7:01, so we'll call the meeting to order. If you'll stand for a moment for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silent prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. Gloria just left the meeting room temporarily. Mr. Winters is on his way. At this time, we can have public comments. If people would like to make a public comment, they can go to the microphone and give their name and address, and the limit's 3 minutes, but we let people go.
Okay. Hi, Alicia Dyer, Ypsilanti Township resident. We wanted to inquire about if there's a way to like live stream or have Zoom in on the meetings. I know I talked with some township people about it before, but some of our members in our White Town ARPA committee are having trouble like getting to the meetings, whether it's childcare or just like transportation. And so we're wondering if there's a way to like dual, like hybrid model, like Zoom and have in person, or just what the Zoom attendance was when the lockdown was going on, if it was like better attendance that way for people.
We're not supposed to have dialogue, but...
Oh, I didn't know that, sorry.
Like I said to you then, is that we can look at doing that. We haven't done that yet. Our IT person would have to look at how to do that. And right now, we're not doing that. We would prefer people to come in person, and I know they Facebook Live things too, and I know the city of Ypsilanti does something. Oh, they're on Zoom, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
So they don't have people coming in, so we try to do both, but we'll, like I said, I don't know how to do that. The IT department would have to do that.
Okay, and we're definitely down to help because we had to do it for other meetings too, so just, yeah, let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say that I want to thank the board for getting the potholes fixed on Grove Road over the I-94 overpass?
All right, very good. Good job. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Larisha Thornton. I am an Ypsilanti Township resident. And I would love for the board to introduce new ideas, working with grassroots nonprofits within the community to give our children something to do. I'm a parent who had a daughter that was involved in the juvenile justice system for a long time. And there wasn't any help for her until she was arrested. When she was arrested, then it became detention over and over again, which made her a better criminal, to say the least. So I believe if she had something to do, i.e. like a girls program, that it would have kept her out of trouble and allowed her to prosper in the ways that she has since she's aged out of the juvenile justice system. She's done a complete 180. So giving that, I actually started a nonprofit. It's called Her Stories Incorporated, and we work with girls in the community. So being able to work with the board and figure out how to incorporate her stories in the board, in the school systems, I feel like we can make a change and make a difference for our girls. Because I know that a lot of things, like our girls feel a little left out at times. And working in the justice system myself, I actually teach for Women's Huron Valley Corrections. And I hear all the time from my students how they wish they had had something to do to keep them occupied so they wouldn't have become strung out on meth or committing crimes that they now wish that they could take back. Thank you.
Thank you. Was that her story? Is that your?
Yes, Her Stories Incorporated.
Thank you. Are there any other public comment? Hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the October 19th work session and regular meeting, statements and checks for November 2nd, 2021.
So move. Gerald Rowe.
Support.
Motion Gerald Rowe, support Eldridge to approve the consent agenda. We made some minor changes to the minutes. Did I, for the record, state that Trustee Newman wasn't here, and he had called in previously, so he's not feeling well, he's not here. So he's excused per the policy that was adopted by the Township Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our attorney also was planning on making it. He hasn't made it yet, but he also let us know that he would not be here this evening for the work session. Under new business, we have a request to approve amendment to the agreement with the Community Publishing and Marketing for mailing of the Township Magazine in the amount of $9,547, which is budgeted in line item.
So move. Gerald Rowe.
Support.
Motion support. Are there any questions? Michael, do you want to just talk about the request?
Sure.
Is to add the magnet to the magazine that we've mailed out. We used to have one.
Correct. Mike
Helpful
Hoffmeister,
handle.
Residential Services Director. If you remember, the board previously allowed us to go out to bid for a new printing contract for a township magazine, previously known as the Helpful Handbook, which now goes out 3 times a year. This is just to amend the existing contract to include the magnets, which we traditionally send out the first one of the year with the Helpful Handbook.
Are there any questions or comments? We have received positive feedback, and I believe in my heart that it's increased the participation of youth in the sports and the programs that they have at the community center. So I think by mailing it, you can still do everything online for people who want to do it online, but by mailing it actually puts it in the hands, a recreation program, and the updates on the township services at the same time. So I think it's been successful, and thank you for bringing that idea forward. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 2 is a request to waive the financial policy and award the low quote for the purchase of a trailer to DR Trailer in the amount of $8,799, which is budgeted.
So move.
Support Peterson.
Motion Rowe, Gerald Rowe, support Peterson. Michael?
Yes, staff were proactive in receiving 3 bids on a 20-foot box trailer. The purpose of this box trailer is to really streamline election setup. Right now, we operate out of a 14-foot box trailer as well as 2 vans and 2 trucks. Having a 20-foot trailer will allow us to streamline storage for the entire year, and then we'll also streamline our use of vehicles and such during the election setup. So that's the goal with this purchase.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I would just like to thank Mike Hoffmeister and all of the staff that continues to help with our election setup, and just thank you for bringing this forward. And I think purchasing this will also hopefully in the future allow us to, maybe not rent tables, but we'll have a place to permanently store them and just help a lot with the efficiency of setup. So thank you.
Other comment? We are updating the financial policy. So he did get, Michael did get 3 quotes. So it's not like we didn't, but because the current financial policy says that it's formal bidding versus getting 3 quotes that are sent over to, in paper to people. But, so we're still fine tuning that, and we hope to have that in the next board meeting, correct? Yeah.
November 16th.
And was this my deal?
This one was not.
Right. Okay, we have a motion support. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 3 is a request to waive the financial policy and award the low quote for the purchase of 3 landscaping trailers to trailer sales of Michigan in the amount of $11,670, which is budgeted.
So moved.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, supported Wilson. Michael?
Yes, this is another budgeted expense to purchase 3 new landscape trailers for Parks and Grounds. These trailers are used daily to carry our mowers, which are all over town daily. And again, we are requesting the waive of the bidding process of the financial policy due to the fact we received 4 bids for this particular project.
Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is to request to waive the financial policy and award the quote for the purchase of a Toro Groundsmaster 4100D, is that what and work GTX EFI utility cart in the amount of $89,371, which is budgeted in 213-753-977000.
So moved, Joe Rowe.
Support Wilson.
Motion support. Michael?
Yes, this is a request to purchase a new Toro mower, as well as a new utility cart for the golf course at Green Oaks. You will notice only 2 quotes for this one due to the fact that only so many manufacturers make the width mower deck that we particularly like for streamlined and efficient mowing at the golf course. As Supervisor Stembo mentioned earlier, Spartan Distributing is a My Deal contract with the state, so that's very helpful to us. We also have a great relationship with Spartan Distributing and the Toro product. They take good care of us. They maintain our machines quickly and efficiently and do replace them when they're out as well temporarily. So this will be a great addition to replace a old machine at Green Oaks Golf Course.
Yeah, the existing machine was Parks and Grounds, and then they gave it to Green
Correct.
Oaks. So
Correct.
this will help Green Oaks a lot with that efficiency. And My Deal is a state bid, and we're part of that. You know, so you could have, if you went to My Deal, the financial policy allows us just to go to My Deal because they bid it out statewide. But in doing so, it was on My Deal was actually the Toro grounds. So it's getting 3 quotes is critical to make sure, because this is taxpayer money, and making sure we're getting a competitive quote on equipment. So, thank you for doing that. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a request to approve the facility usage agreement with Willow Run Acres for the development of a community farm at Apple Ridge Park.
So moved.
Support Swanson.
We have a motion, Eldridge, support Swanson. Mike?
Yes, this is a requested facility usage agreement with Willow Run Acres, which is a non-for-profit 501c3. I believe the board has been enlightened with a letter or 2 from Attorney Winters regarding this project. As part of my memo, you will see the timeline that we've been through. They have presented to the Park Commission. We did write a letter to Apple Ridge residents about this potential change, requesting feedback. Park Commission also had a special meeting in August to address any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this project. And we also had formal legal review and some back and forth with their leadership to get to the point at which we're at now. This project would add a community farm at Apple Ridge Park on the western portion of Apple Ridge Park, west of the ball field. And it would be a community farm where people would basically lease out farm plots to create whatever they wanted to grow. And this facility use agreement would allow Willow Run Acres to manage it, maintain it, and then we would manage and maintain the eastern part that would not be under this agreement. So I will note that, and I suppose Supervisor Stumbo would be up to you, but we would approve this contingent upon final legal review, just because I think I sent it to him maybe last week after I received it from their leadership.
Right. no one's here from Willow Run Acres, but this is kind of exciting, I mean, to do this in the park. And like you said, they did have community engagement, and it's going to have almost like a farmer's market eventually, where fresh vegetables are going to be available, for the residents in that area. And it's also an educational opportunity to teach our children and adults how to actually, grow vegetables. And it's a great opportunity to actually do something with that space there and provide healthy food opportunities.
Correct.
So I'm excited about it. They're passionate about it. They have a website and everything, Willow Run Acres, and they tried to do it, I think, in the school, Debbie, at one point, on the property there. But, yeah, so I don't know if there's any specific questions on it. And it will be, if we could, contingent upon attorney review. There's pictures in the packet on it, and there's some historical significance they're going to do. It's just, it's going to be a great addition for us to try to do something in our park, in an area, and invest in it and have the opportunity there. So we're really excited about it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I don't know if Mike, you'll be able to answer it. I know the contract referred to like restroom facilities, and we don't have restroom facilities at Apple Ridge. So what's that mean? Are we going to put some in, or is that just language?
We would put portable restrooms out there for the season, and we would work with them to perhaps share the cost. If you'd like us to detail that further, we can. That's a really good question. But traditionally, in situations or parks where we don't have a permanent restroom, we'll put portable restrooms out.
Portable would probably help, just because I know there's not a restroom facility
Correct.
there. And then, I'm trying to think, there were a couple other questions. So the way the drawing looks, and maybe the scale is off, it looks like the ballpark is rendered unusable at that point because of the way it's lined up. Is that just the scale is off, or will that ballpark not be available?
Yeah, I think it's partially the scale. Deputy Supervisor Hines helped us create a map that I thought I put in there, so if I didn't, I apologize. But through our public meetings and everything, we wanted to hear from the residents on whether or not that ball field was relevant or important to that particular park. We knew as a staff that it wasn't particularly used, but we wanted to hear more from the public, and we just didn't hear about the usage of that ball field. So I don't think it would be 100% unused, but it would just be a little more limited.
Because I would just caution us that, there was a point in time where people were rendering tennis courts unusable, and a lot of it had to do with, you had an infrastructure there. So I just would caution, because now we have pickleball, and we're known as one of the ideal places to come play pickleball. And had we followed that train, years ago, we might not have that asset. So I'd be careful about that. And sometimes uses have people been taught how to play, and it's close to a neighborhood. So, and it could be equipment. So there's equipment issues with ball. So I just want us to be careful about having something and then rendering it not useful. And then it looks like they set it up, and then it looks like it's taken down. Am I understanding that accurately, that the beds get put up and then it looks like they get disassembled after the season? Or do they stay?
They'll stay. The plants are seasonal.
Okay. Because it looked a little bit like that got disassembled. Maybe that was just the way they were assembling them. And then there was one other question. I got to think for a second. So that,
Debbie, are you talking about in the current?
the way the pictures that were in our packet showed, it looked like they got assembled, and then I don't know whether I was reading the contract or something, that dismantled. Right there, it said dismantled in October.
No, my understanding is that the beds are up year-round,
Okay.
and there is a certain level of fencing that will go up as well, as you'll see in some of the pictures also. So, no,
Check that language, because there was a part that said dismantled, just somebody flipped
Okay.
past it where it said that. And then the only other thing that I would, it just went off my head. I know. I've heard parks in our community called underutilized space. That's a little concerning to me because I think in all neighborhoods, people have the right to what would be green space that someone might determine underutilized. So I'm fine with like other uses coming into spaces, but I think if we refer to things as underutilized, it kind of sends a message that everything in a park has to be useful, and especially on the north side of the township, I think there's value in very dense communities having green space, and it doesn't have to be, there doesn't have to be everything there. I think they have the right to a park space. By design, a lot of those neighborhoods were designed so that houses might be more dense, closer together, but there would be a natural green space like many of the neighborhoods, like we were talking about with zoning, have. I just don't want us to refer to ourselves as that, to make it sound like neighborhoods that might be more dense don't have, that they don't have the right to space that's just open and green, where nature and other things could be there. That doesn't have to be something all the time. That's just terminology, and I've seen it twice. So I think it was an article that was in Concentrate that was talking about Sugarbrook and being underutilized space, and then this one's coming up with Apple Ridge Park, and it just concerns me because it just sends a message that those parks don't have a right to open green space, and I don't see people saying that about like Clubview Park or other open areas. So I want us to be mindful of what we say about that.
Point taken. But I do think that also we forgot to talk about, they're going to drop a well as well, so that, a well as well, in order to water it, because the cost prohibitive part of a space like this is the watering. So part of the program is to actually do, and I'm anxious to see how that works out, because if you could do that there, maybe you can do that in other parks and have a spray pad, just one, you know what I mean? Something to add to, but I don't know if we can, but I'm anxious to see. I know we can drop a well over there. It works because Green Oaks Golf Course is over there. It's very sandy, and it will work very well. And you're right about the pickleball court. You're absolutely right. Tennis was dead, and then pickleball came, and we still had tennis courts, so that's a good point. Kickball is something. I mean, you might have a kickball league, and that could be played there as well.
Madam Chair.
The basketball court is highly used. I mean, it's a very used, and the children's playgrounds and stuff like that. Hasn't been a lot of, like, baseball, but kickball might be something as an alternative. Yes.
Mike, on 570 is where it says dismantled, and I think it's referring to, like, taking out the garden at the end of the season, but maybe they could choose a clearer word.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, I have one more thing. So people will be able to still rent the pavilion and the other things that are in that park, right?
Yes.
Because I know that you have the one group, the community group that has the very large welcome back reunion party there, and that won't inhibit the ability for that group to have their normal large-scale event in
Correct.
the park.
Correct.
Right, okay.
And just for clarity's sake, we don't formally rent that shelter out,
Okay.
but yes, those events will still be able to happen in those parks.
This is considered a neighborhood park, but it's on the main road, and usually neighborhood parks are inside the neighborhoods, but in this case, it's not. All right. Mr. Winters, did you have anything?
I would just add that when this first came up for discussion, I know we had some internal meetings, and all the questions that have been raised this evening by Trustee Swanson and others are great questions, and some of them are very similar to the ones that we had during this internal meetings, which led to the community engagement. Probably also against that backdrop of this conversation was when we also came aware of the opportunity index findings and the lack of sometimes healthy food choices that are opportunities to have healthy food. And we kind of at least felt that this was kind of like a moment in time where we could maybe have the best of both worlds, where you would have still recreational space, but also have an opportunity for residents in eastern Washington County, especially in the township, to have a raised garden space, outdoor teaching areas, community farmers market, and to learn the importance of growing healthy food, especially when we saw those findings from the University of Michigan Poverty Center that made reference to disparity. It's still kind of a shocking number to say that the life expectancy of African Americans in eastern Washington County, Ypsilanti Township, was 17 years less than those in the western part of Washington County. So when you say 17 years, that's a number that's almost 2 decades. And I'm not saying that this is, so the question always arises, okay, so where do you begin? What's the balance between this type of opportunity to address, and I remember myself I'm not a gardener, but I remember this as a small child going with my mother to a garden that she had down off of Holmes Road, where she would rent space to raise a garden, and I wasn't much help. But in terms of the importance of learning how to grow gardens, I think it's become a real, it's a necessity for a lot of people to have this healthy food. I know when you go shopping, a lot of things are just not affordable, they're not fresh, they're filled with all kinds of chemicals. And I think it's an opportunity that's going to maybe even take hold and be used in other parts of the township. We talked about that possibility. And I've not yet gone over it one more time with a fine-tooth comb to make sure all the questions that were asked are addressed to a satisfaction of what we had already discussed. But those are all great questions. But I think, again, this kind of fits in with maybe a small piece of what the township can encourage to be done when you're facing those type of disparate poverty and health issues that, again, are just rather staggering to even say the number, 17 years. So I think it's an opportunity maybe to teach a new generation of how to grow healthy food and how to be somewhat maybe self-reliant on those that might carry over to their adult years somewhere else. So I think a lot of effort's been made, and I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but we were very sensitive to making sure that the community wanted to be aware, wanted the community to be aware that of what we were considering. And I think they, from what I heard, was a very, very resounding thumbs up. So I know John put a lot of work into this as well. So I'm going to take all the comments that you raised and maybe do one more read over on the contract and make sure it's in proper form before we sign off on it. But those are all great questions.
All right. And it's really important that they maintain it. So, like, it's got to be first class, and done very well. And we have another gentleman that partners with the church, and he's growing vegetables and things like that. But it's on Harris Road, so this is getting it closer and to the other areas of the township too. And let's see how it works. I mean, we all raised gardens when I came up here. I don't think they do it as much as we used to, but I think it would be a good thing to learn and get down into the earth. And it's going to have, let's just make it clear, you can't grow just anything. It's food and, Okay, I just want to make sure. You said you can grow anything. I'm like, just want to make sure it's clear. Sorry.
All kinds of mushrooms.
And maybe it's a father and son team that can come and do a presentation, and we can all, hear it. And I know the county is supportive of it as well. So, It's something new, so let's try it, if it's okay with everybody. So approval contingent upon attorney's review. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6 is a resolution 2021-24, which is establishing the supervisor's salary, and then next is the clerks and treasurers. I guess I inadvertently forgot to do our salaries when we did the salaries previously for this year. So this normally occurs at the same time, and I didn't do it, so I apologize.
So move.
Support Peterson.
Motion supports or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
So so point of clarification, this is just doing what we did earlier with all of the other employees, right?
Yes,
Because we're in negotiation, so this is just matching what happened
yes.
with all the other employees previously, where they got the,
In July of 2021, yeah.
okay.
And we did the non-union and we forgot the board.
All right, I have Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution 2021-24, establishing the township supervisor's salary. Whereas according to MCL 41.953, in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary for elected officials shall be determined by the township board. And whereas in July of 2021, Teamsters, AFSCME, and non-union employees received a 2.5% increase in their base wages. And whereas it is recommended that trustees and full-time elected officials receive a 2.5 increase, now therefore it be resolved that the salary of the office of the supervisor shall receive a lump sum to cover January 2021 to November 2021 non-MERS wage, the same as all other employees, 2.5% on their base salary, with an annual salary going from $86,341.55 to $88,500.09. I would so move the resolution. And Gloria seconded it already. Sorry.
So we have a
did that.
motion, support, discussion. Go ahead.
That's okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. The next item is Resolution 2021-25, which is establishing the township clerk's salary. So all our salaries are the same.
So move. Are you going to read it? Or you?
Motion Peterson,
I made motion.
Support Wilson.
support Wilson.
All right, I have Charter, you're right, we're doing that, we're doing it back.
Yes,
It's being weird.
just go right.
All right, Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution Number 2021-25, establishing a township clerk salary. Whereas according to MCL 41.953, in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary for elected officials shall be determined by the township board. And whereas in July of 2021, Teamsters, AFSCME, and non-union employees received a 2.5% increase in their base wages. And whereas it is recommended that the trustees and full-time elected officials receive a 2.5% increase, now therefore it be resolved that the salary of the office of the clerk shall receive a lump sum to cover January 2021 to November 2021 non-MERS wage, the same as all other employees, 2.5% on their base salary, with annual salary going from $86,341.55 to $88,509.
So move Peterson.
Support Wilson.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is the treasurer, Resolution 2021-26, establishing the township treasurer's salary.
I have Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution 2021-26, establishing a township treasurer's salary. Whereas according to MCL 41.953, in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary for elected officials shall be determined by the township board. And whereas in July 2021, Teamsters, AFSCME, and non-union employees received a 2.5% increase in their base wages. And whereas it is recommended that trustees and full-time elected officials receive a 2.5% increase, now therefore it be resolved that the salary of the office of treasurer shall receive a lump sum to cover January of 2021 to November of 2021 non-MERS wages, the same as all other employees, 2.5% on their base salary, with the annual salary going from $86,341.55 to $88,509. I would so move. the resolution.
Support Peterson.
We have a motion and support to establish the salary of the treasurer. Questions or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is a little odd because it's the first time our new board has done this, and it's part of the budget as well, so I know it's new. So number 9 is a resolution 2021-27, establishing township trustees' salary.
All right, I have a Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution 2021-27, establishing a township trustee's salary. Whereas a new policy was adopted at the October 18, 2016 Township Board meeting that included compensation for township trustees, and whereas all AFSCME, Teamsters, and non-union employees received a 2.5% increase in 2021, and whereas it is recommended that both trustees and full-time elected officials also receive a 2.5% increase in 2021. Now therefore it be resolved that the trustees will be paid a lump sum of $352.34 to cover January 2021 to November of 2021. And effective December 2021, trustees will receive a 2.5% increase from $15,375 to $15,759. I would so move the resolution.
We have a motion support. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 10 is a request to set a public hearing for the 2022 budget on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at approximately 7 p.m.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion by Gerald Rose, support by Wilson to set the public hearing date for 2022 budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 11 is a budget amendment 13. Clerk Rowe? Gerald Rowe?
I have a motion to amend the 2021 budget amendment number 13, a move to increase the general fund budget by $3,152 to $9,962,348, and to approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the building fund budget by $4,000 to $885,456 and improve the line item changes as outlined. And move to increase the nuisance abatement fund by $5,000 to $67,027 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. And these are for nuisance abatement, noxious weed, more funds to do mowing that we need to do, an expenditure fee for BSNA, and a PTO payout. So move.
Motion by Gerald Rose, support by Eldridge. Are there questions? I do want to just point out on the building fund, we went live BSNA online, which is like building permits, deck permits, and heating and cooling. I mean, they put all the permits online, and they've had over 800 people, residents, some contractors, actually apply online for. So it's really a great service for those who want to do it that way. We still take them in person, of course, but when we adopted this BSNA online services, there was a $2 fee, and we did not have a line item in our budget. So in order to create any new line items, you have to bring it to the board. So that's what this is for. It's a very successful endeavor that we've done, more than I expected, actually, so it's great. Any other questions or comments on them? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And authorization bids, we have the request to seek sealed bids for Phase 1 of the Huron Street Pathway Project.
So move, Joe Rowe.
There's a motion by Joe Rowe, support by Eldridge to approve Phase 1 of Huron Street. Michael?
Yes, this is a request to go to bid for Phase 1 of Huron Street for an addition of a pathway. You'll see attached is a contract book, bid specifications, and drawings developed by OHM engineers. This would allow us to build a pathway between South Huron River Drive and Joe Hall Drive on the west side of Huron Street, and then a small portion on the east side of Huron Street between James L. Hart, or the Eagle Crest entrance, and the MDOT Park and Ride and North Bay Park entrance. So that creates a huge connection for our residents that use that corridor and already do, as well as utilize the bus stops along there. This is also a project that is going to be partially funded by Connecting Communities, which we received last year through Washtenaw County Parks and Rec Commission. And then this will obviously connect to the upcoming trail connection over the bridge to the city of Ypsilanti coming in the next year or so as well. So big things happening.
Questions or comment? So they were going to do the bridge work finally 20 years later, so that, because we see so many people walking over the bridge through the middle of it was just unsafe. A lot of people were working in the hotels and in the businesses and getting the food at Kroger's. So it's a really, I mean, bike paths are wonderful, but just to make that connection would be great. The project did not include going, which we're calling Huron Street Phase 1. It went to James L. Hart. Then it stopped. So it's right over the bridge, and you turn right to go to McDonald's. So that's James L. Hart. This will take it all the way down to connect to the existing sidewalk in front of the Kroger store. So that'll make it a lot better for people to have access, and we'll be bringing back, as part of this project, lighting as well. So one of the number one issues that came up in the Parks and Recreation Master Plan and in the Planning Master Plan that we did was having walkable community and accessibility. And this is off-road, Ms. Kaiser, you'll be happy to hear that. And so this is a separate path, which makes it even better. And we're very thankful to the church for allowing us the easement over that. And so we got it'll be about $300,000 cost to the township. But the connection is really important. So it is exciting. The bids went out last year, but they came in way too high. Is that what happened?
No, this is the first time we're going to bid for this one.
Because we didn't bid it because the bids were coming in way too high in other projects. So
Correct.
we waited this year, and then 2022 is also when they're going to do the pedestrian, the entire bridge and Huron Street in the city. So we're coordinating the projects to make it work better between the two communities.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I apologize that I didn't ask this earlier, Mike, because I know we talked a little bit before, but under the instructions for bidders, we've started doing that like electronic version of sealed bids, and it just doesn't detail that. It says under Section D, which is like page 592, Section D, it says bid forms shall be enclosed in sealed envelopes. And I just didn't know if you wanted to revise that to allow them to be electronic, and if so, if that would be a friendly amendment to the motion. And just to explain that a little bit more, it's an online sealed bid process. So like if I post something onto BidNet to receive bids, I literally cannot look at, see, it's like a safety feature. It will not let you open or manipulate them in any way. You don't even get to see the name of the company that's placed a bid. Like if they, say the bids close on Friday and they submit it on Thursday, which literally never happens. But if it did, I wouldn't be able to see them. So it's a secure process.
We can if you would like to. This is a larger project, so I would maybe steer against that one for this, just because they're expected to turn in bonds and insurances and all those things. So I'll leave it up to you all to decide that, but I think traditionally for big projects, we would not welcome online bids for that purpose.
All right, I'll follow your lead on that.
Mr. Winters, what would?
Well, I've seen the contract book. It's pretty voluminous, the contract book itself. And I think last time we didn't, I'm trying to think if we actually had a project this large. The contract book itself is very voluminous. And I can't recall where we've used the online process for a project this large. I'm not necessarily adverse against trying, and because I think that's going to be the trend, is going that direction anyways. So this project is one that's probably, $300,000, give or take, I'm not sure. So I guess I think this is probably a good a time to allow that to occur if we're going to do it. So I think it'd be a good, I don't want to say trial run, but I know that even with the BSA and the building department, we're going more and more online with everything we're doing. So I don't have any strong objections to trying it.
We can ask the engineer, and
Sure.
if we can amend it. The problem is our current financial policy has it this way, and as soon as we amend that, then it will allow both ways, right? So we're going to get there, but, I mean, I don't understand it enough to say if we should or shouldn't,
So-
but I'm open to it.
My understanding in talking with Giovanna Neeler, accounting director, is that our current financial policy does allow for it. It just has to be a sealed bid. And so by all purposes of the word sealed, because it's like the secure online process, her interpretation of it is that it does still meet the requirements of our current financial policy, but it's certainly something that we've discussed and want to be clarified in the future. But listen, that's going to be a lot of printing, so we could try it next time.
Yeah, or we can just ask the engineer if they're comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
Oh, they can
Okay.
print it for it.
Huh?
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know enough about it to say either way.
I have one question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
If you do it that way, and Heather, you're saying no one will be able to see those bids, would the other companies be able to see those bids
no, it's
that are bidding?
completely, no one.
Who will be
at
able
all.
to see them then?
Absolutely no one until the bids are open. And those are open to the public. So
Yeah.
just for an example, let's say we just had one closed today at 2:00. So as soon as the clock turns,
Yeah.
like at 1:59, I cannot see them. No one else can see them.
Okay.
At 2:00, you refresh your page and all of your bids are in there. And at that point, and our bid process is open and public, so anyone could come to the conference room and vendors could go, or, people who might have been. And I will say, or just share, that the one thing that we're learning how to deal with in the clerk's office is that when you do the online electronic ones, it just takes a little bit longer for us to download and print the documents, but it still happens at the exact same time. So there's no access for other people to peek in and see what your price was or anything like that. Bidding is obviously something historically that's really important that we maintain the integrity and transparency around, and this process certainly follows that still.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion support, and it's going to come back to us. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There's no other business. Is there a board member update?
I just wanted to reiterate what Giovanna said earlier about Saturday and the trunk or treat event. So I'm very grateful for staff. Robin had that idea with other people, and she just wanted to offer an opportunity for students, or not for students, for children and families that live on the north side, even though everybody was invited. It was a fabulous event. I think there were 20 cars, a lot of community members, a lot of staff people working. It was just a very joyous event. Children were happy, the fire department was there, and so what a blessing it is to have staff that work so hard and so lovingly for our families, and just the collegiality amongst them. So very grateful for that event that took place, and many others. It's just a blessing that we have people who are dedicated and care about our community and people, so I appreciate that.
Great.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Jimmy?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what residents are saying about getting a virtual option of some kind of video. I know we've discussed it in the past, and just kind of maybe giving a little nudge to our IT department to understand the concern of the residents wanting to have a virtual option.
Yep, I get it too. And I'm we need to upgrade this room too. I mean, we've talked about it, the sound system, and we did it one minor thing, the way this is displayed. So I do know that they've looked at it and talked about it. I know that, Lisa, you've worked with Travis, I don't know how many times. So we need to upgrade a lot here. I do want to say November 10th at 5 o'clock is the 30th anniversary of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial here. So it's at 5 o'clock in this room, and 30 years since a Vietnam veteran memorial has been unveiled in Ypsilanti Township. Is just another great thing that happened years and years ago, but we continue to celebrate that. And I'm trying to think, is there any other upcoming things? I can't think of any events that are upcoming. I am getting, a lot of requests from a lot of different people about the American Recovery Dollars. And we haven't discussed it as a board. Giovanna, our accountant, is going to webinars on it and to try to get a better understanding of it. We've stated it here before, and I'll just say it again, that our auditor recommended that we not proceed quickly with this. And I'm so glad they did, because in the beginning, it was very restricted to broadband, water and sewer, and reimbursement for revenue lost. And since that initial, it's been expanded a little bit. So we're trying to get, we want to make sure we do it correctly and we get citizens' involvement. I know that's important, and it's been stated here, and we want to make sure that we do, take it to the community. But there's not a day goes by that I don't get asked, what are you doing with the monies? And, we just haven't made a decision. I do know that Yucca and Evan Pratt from the Drain Commission, there was 3 flooded areas in the township that were affected. So that kind of infrastructure will make, changes there. We don't have any, no dollars are put to anything. We've had discussion about a wireless neighborhood, high-speed internet that would be free to, is in the opportunity zone, so everyone has the opportunity to have good, fast internet. No one can afford $200. And that's what it costs to have high-speed internet and your TV and everything. So there's another group that opened up, actually, and they had a soft opening. Stan and Jimmy and Debbie and I went, and it was Defy and what was the other name of it?
Unite STEM.
Yeah, which was, amazing opportunity for young people to come there after school they might even get accredited, and they can get, the help with the education and the different ways of learning there, as well as financial assistant programming. They have robotics, and there was just, it gave you goosebumps when you walked in it. And it's over off of Parkwood Street in the industrial area, right near West Willow and right near Thurston. And it's just really, I don't know about you guys. I was so impressed when I walked in and saw it, and encouraged, maybe we'll get another tour and stuff. But there's a lot of good things happening, and sometimes we all don't know, right? And so as we learn, we need to start sharing them out and putting them in places. But they Defy, that was the name of it, right? Defy. And they were 2 young people who went to Willow Run School and were doing things in Detroit with these nonprofits, and actually brought it here. And another gentleman who actually did a STEM program through YCS, and YCS didn't want them to, prefer them not to run it through there again. For some reason, I don't know the history on it, but so they brought it to this building. So they're doing like a cell phone, teaching financial literacy by, you get a cell phone, but you have to manage it. It's just a lot of good things in this one space. And I'm only talking about the things that I know about that they presented, but there's so many other I think it's 50,000 square feet. It's a huge place for the community, and it's such a blessing. And so that's another thing that we attended. And
they were also coordinating with other community entities, because that's where I met Willow Run Acres was there when they had a community soft opening the very next day. So it is exciting to see people pulling together and focused on taking care of our community.
Yeah, And that might be an opportunity to connect what you spoke about earlier on the, and we'll get, it's one of the greatest things I think going. And I haven't been so excited about something in a long time, and they're just doing it, and they use their own money. They're not, they said, we're doing it regardless. That's what they said. And they've met with the county. They've had state representatives there and other organizations, but they opened up. So I think they have 2 students. Who was there? Ricky Jefferson was there and said that 2 students were actually now going there and getting their online classes and getting the assistance, and they'll graduate. They'll be able to graduate from that as well. So that was exciting. Sorry. That's all I have. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion Wilson, support Eldridge. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The time is what, 7:57. 7:57. Thank you.
Sorry? Yeah, my mother's at the hospital, so it's Thursday night. Going down there. Yeah, it's hard to see what happened over there at the sanctuary, so. Huh? No, but they weren't paying any attention, and there's a lot of other issues going on, so I'm going to try and get her into the Gilbert residence.
Okay, get her moved.
You already getting her in, or you trying?
Yeah, well, I got a room picked out. It's just now trying to coordinate everything with all these nurse managers, caseworkers, social people. It's just not a good